Hello again, everybody, and welcome to 4-Star Chicago Sports. This is the Northside Nine Playoff Edition. 12 teams, 1 crown, 13 wins. We get into it right after this.
Windy City banners rocking 4 stars align. Dynasty dreams rise, Bulls in their prime. Cubs curse shattered, the victory divine. Fields be running, clock ticking on my timeline. Shot-town heroes, legends never fade. Black Hawks flying, cutting ice with the blade. White Sox diamonds, the Southside parade. 4 stars shine bright, legacies they made. Mike with the crown, air rain, no dispute. Sweetness in the backfield, Walter in pursuit. Bear down Sunday's midfield, battles cute. Chicago.
Hello again, everybody. Holy mackerel, Kyle. From Tokyo to Chicago. It started overseas, and we are here in the postseason, baby. Woo! Let's go. I'm fired up, man. I almost wish Craig Counsell had a Ben Johnson locker room speech.
Maybe he does.
Yeah, maybe he does, and we haven't heard it yet, right? So we don't have too much time, so we're gonna cut right to the chase, man. Cubs, I almost said Diamondbacks. Cubs, Padres, 3 games, not single elimination, 2-game elimination. Gotta win them. ABC 208 today, tomorrow, and if needed on Thursday. We got Boyd versus Pivetta. We got Shota versus Cease, and if necessary, we got Tyon versus Darvish. Ooh. Let's get right into this.
What's up, Bruce? What's up, John? What's up, Dustin? Thanks for joining the show, guys. We appreciate you, man.
Oh, thank you guys so much, man. This little impromptu playoff preview. Really appreciate you guys checking us out for a few. Pivetta, Boyd, here's their season stats. They both had 31 starts, 181 innings to 179, 287 to 321. That FIP is about even. The XFIP is about even. The strikeouts per 9, Pivetta wins, but not by much. Your walks per 9, pretty much even. WAR, pretty much even. This is a pretty even matchup if you take away the last 5 starts for Matthew Boyd. And as we get in, this was Pivetta's 2 starts versus the Cubs this year. 4-5 of 25, 3 innings, 6 hits, 3 earned, and a home run. And the Cubs worked him over. They forced a bunch of walks in that game, got runners on base, got his pitch count high. And like early April baseball, you're not going to stretch your star pitchers out that much. So the Cubs chased them. Much better performance 2 weeks later, 11 days later, actually, back at Petco in San Diego. 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run. Which Pivetta do we get today? Kyle, what are your thoughts as we open up the 2025 postseason?
Well, Sean, I hope we get the prior. I mean, obviously, you don't want Pivetta at the top of his game. If he pitches the top of his game, he's a very good pitcher. And obviously, the Padres have one of the best, if not the best, bullpen in baseball since the trade deadline. So, I mean, the Cubs are going to have to get on him early, man. And they can't be one of these situations where the Cubs load the bases in the first inning, come away with nothing. This is the playoffs now, Sean. You scratch and claw for every single run you can get. And honestly, Sean, when it comes down to it, I think the team that wins this series is the team that hits more home runs. I mean, if you look at the Cubs against the Reds when they got swept in that 4-game series recently, they couldn't hit the ball to save their lives. If you look at the Cubs against the Cardinals, they looked like the early season Cubs hitting a bunch of bombs out of the field, and they handled the Cardinals easily. The Cubs are going to have to score runs if they want to continue this playoff run. They're going to absolutely have to. You can't have these games where the Cubs go 3 for 12 with men in scoring position.
You know what, Dustin? I have not checked on the win yet. We're going to check on that variable here. Just here in a second. I will check the weather out at Wrigley, and I agree, Dustin. Crazy the fact that Boston and the Cubs and the Reds snuck in this last week was really impressive. And on our preseason show at the beginning of the year, I had the Reds being the Cubs' biggest competition. I thought the Brewers would take a step back. Obviously, the Brewers did not take a step back, but I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Kyle, the NL Central is the only division with 3 teams in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's correct, Sean. Because the Reds took the Mets spot.
Yeah, that's right, baby. This is the toughest division in baseball. And I did forget to throw this up. Boyd versus San Diego, that was on the 4-5 of 25. He actually faced Pivetta 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 walk, 5 Ks, no earned runs. If people will rewind the clock back to that day, though, there were a lot of players out for the San Diego Padres. They were starting the likes of Mandy Maldonado and a bunch of reserves. So he didn't have to face Tatis. Tatis is a whole nother animal. Connor Joe was in there. Oscar Gonzalez was in that game. So, I have a feeling, and I don't know where your thought is, Kyle. I hope the bats come alive, but today kind of reminds me of one of those games where it's going to be a typical playoff baseball game, 1-run lead type of baseball game, and the Cubs bullpen's going to have to come through. What are your thoughts, Boyd versus Pivetta? Or you see a lot of runs in this game, maybe a couple solo shots, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, I expect it to be a close game, Sean. But if you get into the Padres bullpen and they have the lead, you're in trouble. So the Cubs are going to have to hope to God that they can get into the 6th, 7th inning with a lead, whether it be 1, 2 runs, and then at least if it's a close game, the Cubs can use their best bullpen pieces. Talk about guys like Kittredge, talk about guys like Keller, talk about guys like Thielbar, Daniel Palencia. I mean, the Cubs. This is it, guys. This is it. If you lose 2 games, you're done. So the Cubs need to do whatever they possibly can to continue their playoff run here. I actually like their chances against the Padres. It does, obviously, Sean, it's terrible that Cade Horton was out for this playoff series. It's bad timing for his injury. There's nothing you can do about it, guys. He has a fractured rib. He tried throwing. It didn't work. It's unfortunate for the Cubs, but I think if Boyd and Imanaga can pitch like they've pitched through a big chunk of the season, the Cubs have a good chance of winning the series. And Sean, remember, we've talked about this numerous times. Matthew Boyd was at his best last year when he was pitching in the playoffs.
Yeah. And hopefully Matthew Boyd does come. He gave me a lot of confidence in his last start. He bounced back. He looked a lot better. Pavetta's game plan versus righties will be to carry a 4-seamer, heavy sweeper. Against lefties, he carries that same 4-seamer with a nosedive curve. His strengths and weaknesses, he's a StatCast darling, man. Tons of 4-seamers, sweepers on the slide, drop zone curve, video game movement on his pitches. He lacks faders and a changeup to the lefties. He does use a cutter, but it's a bit inconsistent of a pitch for him. And as we stated, Pivetta did have those 2 games against the Cubs, and Boyd did also pitch 11 innings. He did pitch back in Petco Park, and the Padres over 11 1/3 innings only managed 2 runs against him. Again, back in April, these 2 teams have not seen each other. It is worth noting over his last 9 starts, Matthew Boyd does have a 551 earned run average. So these are some things that we have to look at. But again, as we stated, that last start for him, he looked like Matthew Boyd. He looked like himself, put himself in great position, hopefully, to be the Matthew Boyd that was on the Indians in the postseason.
He's got to limit the walks, Sean. He has to limit the walks.
The
beginning
I
of the
agree.
season, he was great at not giving guys free bases, and then lately it's been a lot worse. If he can hit his spots and limit the walks, especially you're talking about, I mean, there's games where Matthew Boyd was walking the 8-9 hitter. Like, you can't do that today. He's going to have to attack those. Obviously, the Tatis, the Machado, those guys you're going to have to pitch very carefully to. But the 8-9 attacker, you have to attack them. Those hitters, you have to attack them. You have to strike them out, man.
Yep. And today we're looking at the splits, and I went to postseason, the post All-Star splits, as Dustin was asking. What are their splits here? During the day, this team is hitting 256. Since the All-Star break during the day, they are heading 251. So that helps just a little bit. But their overall team batting average since the All-Star break is 262. Their overall offense, the Padres, ranks 19th in baseball. Not a deadly lineup. They do have deadly hitters like Mero and Tatis and Machado, but if you can pitch around these guys, maybe get them to swing at some bad pitches, you're looking pretty good. In the month of September, the excuse me, in the month of September, San Diego has a team batting average of 254. So that 262, it's slightly lower. Looks like their hottest month was right after the All-Star break in July. They hit 264. They have dipped in every month since then, hitting 259, 254. And their pre-All-Star batting average was 246. And as I stated, their post-All-Star batting average is 262. This team, the Padres as a team slug at a 741 clip, or a 412 clip. Their OPS is 741. Excuse me for that. Their deadliest two hitters is their leadoff hitter. Their leadoff position as an OPS of 825. I believe that is Fernando Tatis who leads off for them. Their third batter in their order, which I believe is Manny Machado, is hitting 803, and then you have Jackson Merrill 729. These are just on the season so far. So there are some variables. We did get a check on that weather at Wrigley. The weather at Wrigley today says it feels as though real temperature at game time will be 70 degrees with winds northeast at 6 miles per hour and wind gusts of up to 8 miles per hour, humidity of 85%. That is Wrigley Field AccuWeather. So I don't know what that does for you, Kyle. It doesn't really seem like the wind is going to be that big of a factor. And Dustin, I will answer you against lefties. This is my favorite stat of the day. This team against lefties, which they will face today and tomorrow with Shota on the bump, hits 244. They have 343 strikeouts, 165 walks. They have 44 home runs against lefties, 108 against righties, 4 triples against lefties, 14 against righties, 73 doubles, 181 against righties, 73 against lefties. So, knowing those stats, Kyle, how do you feel about Matthew Boyd?
I mean, Sean, ultimately, I mean, the Padres lineup is what it is. They're very top heavy. If Matthew Boyd comes out and pitches to his strength, pitches the way he pitched early in the season, he could shut this lineup down. If he doesn't and he pitches like he has more as of late, then they're going to ding him up a little bit. So the Cubs are going to have to score runs. Like I said, I think ultimately this series will come down to who hits more home runs. Right now, both these teams are just kind of struggling to move the line a little bit. The Cubs have struggled with runners in scoring position. The Padres have gotten a chunk of their runs off home run. Sean, I think the player of the game or the player of the series for both teams, I think Nico Horner has to have a huge series for the Cubs. And I think Jake Cronenworth is going to have a big series for the Padres if they're going to win this one.
Jake Cronenworth, a name that a name that haunts the Cubs, and hopefully he does.
He always plays well against the Cubs, man. Always.
So in Pavetta's last start, he started 922 against Milwaukee, 4 hits, 3 runs over 5 2/3. Start before that against the Mets in New York, 4 2/3, 7 hits, 3 earned runs. He's been beat up a little bit on the road against better teams. His last quality start on the road was against Colorado on 9-5. But before that, he's had 2 quality starts on the road in the last 2 months. So, and the Padres, as a strength of a team, are a better home team than they are road team. Their home record, their road record, seeing that they are on the road, is 38-43, while the Cubs sit a flush 19 games over 500 at Wrigley. So this is another really good thing, man. This is a really good thing for the Cubs, because when I was looking at the series, I was like, man, the one thing that could really play in the Cubs' favor is them not having to go to San Diego, where San Diego is a hell of a lot better baseball team. You cannot blow this series to a team that's played 5 games under 500 on the road. You have this game. You have this in your favor. I said this 2 weeks ago, Kyle. I really thought that the Cubs matched up well against the Padres, and I still believe the Cubs match up very well against the Brewers. I don't like that Phillies matchup if they were to make it to the NLCS. Even with that Instagram clip you sent me today, Kyle, I was like, oh man, it's gonna be Philly and Boston, and it surprised me with the stupid picking the Cubs. But I don't know, man. How do you feel about the Cubs' chances to advance? And we'll get into our predictions for this series here in just a couple seconds.
Yeah, I mean, win one game at a time, right, Sean? I mean, I
Yeah.
hope the Cubs aren't looking too far into the future. Obviously, I think the Cubs would stand a better chance against the Brewers than they would against other teams. But right now, they have to face the Padres. This Padres team, if you overlook them, can be very dangerous. I agree with you, Sean. I think just having the home field advantage, these teams are pretty similar. So having the home field advantage gives the Cubs the upper hand. But like I said, if the Cubs want to win this series, if they want to advance and have a chance to face the Brewers, and if they face the Brewers, they do have a chance to move on to the championship series. But if they want to win this series, they're going to have to pitch better than they have in the last couple of months. And obviously missing Kate Horton, that's absolutely huge for the Chicago Cubs team. He was their true ace, no doubt about it. It's next man up mentality, and they're going to have to hit home runs. They're going to have to do exactly what they did against the Cardinals. They're going to have to get this ball out of the yard because the Cubs have struggled with runners in scoring position all year, especially in the second half. So if the Cubs want to win this series against the Padres, you have to hit home runs.
Yeah, and we're gonna get our small chat and this impromptu Chicago Cubs playoff preview. Before we get that, 10 to 12 wild card series have been 2-0 sweeps in the 3 years of its existence. All 12 game one winners have won the series. So I will say this. This is a very important baseball game today. When you look at that and say there's been 12 series and all game one winners have won this series, the Cubs have to figure out a way to scratch and claw against Nick Pivetta. He is a premier pitcher in this baseball league. He finished with a 287 earned run average. He averages 9 strikeouts per 9 innings. I believe that was. Where are those stats on our guy here? Yeah, 9.41 Ks per 9 innings, which means he's striking out a lot and he ain't walking a lot. But if you look at it, our boy Matthew Boyd is walking just a little bit less than Nick Pivetta, and I'm hoping we can go back to that 4-5 outing where they worked him. He was off. He was they got his pitch count up, but I'm going to let Kyle speak on this one. What happens to the Chicago Cubs if it's 1-0 and Pivetta gets pulled out of this game? Where's your heart go?
You mean 1-0 Cubs?
No, if it's 1-0 Padres.
Yeah, you're in trouble, Sean. I mean, this is the best bullpen in baseball since the All-Star break, since they acquired. I mean, Mason Miller. I mean, their bullpen is absolutely amazing. The Cubs have to jump on Pivetta early. And Sean, at the end of the day, Pivetta is had a really good season, but he's had some ups and downs, just like Matthew Boyd. What's going to come down to is who's better under the pressure. Because Matthew Boyd, we've seen glimpses of the same Matthew Boyd we saw early in the season, in the second half here. But for the most part, he's had some pretty rough outings. If Matthew Boyd's going to be the Matthew Boyd of late and go out there and give up 2 runs, 3 runs, the Cubs have to work these at bats. They have to get that pitch count up as much as they possibly can and get to him at some point in this game. And the Cubs are going to have to at least when Pivetta leaves this game, the game has to be tied, man. It has. If the Padres have a 2 or 3 run lead when Pivetta leaves this game and they start digging into that bullpen, they're in trouble.
Well, I will tell you this: the Cubs did get 2 breaks. Ramon Leonardo, their right fielder, excuse me, I believe he does play left field, was placed on the 10-day DL. He is their best hitter versus left-handed pitching. He finished the season hitting 282 with an OPS of 867, slugging 521 with 9 home runs, 24 RBIs. This guy absolutely crushed left-handed pitching. He crushed it in September. He is out in another big piece of this bullpen. And I don't know that it matters that much for San Diego because that bullpen is about as deep as it gets. But Jason Adam, a former Chicago Cub, is out. He is one of their better arms in that bullpen, but they still have stacked. They still have their closer, Schwarza. They still have Mason Miller. And if you get down, as Kyle just stated, if you get down and you're late in this ball game and you're going against Suarez and Mason Miller in the 8th and 9th inning, you might be closing the book on that ball game. So let's hope that the Cubs can scratch a couple runs.
Yeah, Sean, and it's not
early.
It's not like the Padres aren't getting a break either. I mean, Kate Horton has been the best pitcher in baseball through the second half of the season. Obviously, the Cubs lost Justin Steele early. They've had a plethora of other injuries. I mean, Porter Hodge has not gotten together since his injury. He was looking good before he got hurt. Eli Morgan was looking good before that one bad game in which they found out he was hurt and he was sent down. Eli Morgan was amazing in the playoffs last year. I mean, both these teams are dealing with injuries. I think every team in Major League Baseball at this point in the season is dealing with injuries. But man, the Cubs losing their two best pitchers certainly hurts badly. The Cubs are going to have to win this series with their offense. And Sean, we've been saying that all year. All year we've been saying, due to the injuries of the Cubs rotation and pitching staff, they're going to have to swing the bat. They're going to have to hit home runs, and I'm sticking to it. If the Cubs want to win this series, they're going to have to come out today and hit 2 or 3 home runs, even if they're solos. I don't care. They have to find a way to hit for power in the series. They have to.
Swaggy, which person were you asking about?
He's talking about their left fielder, because Tatis is a right fielder. So the left fielder you were talking about, the guy.
Yeah, they have him listed as a right fielder. I thought he was their left fielder. And it doesn't look like, I just Googled Jason Adam. His picture, he's in a hospital bed. I don't think we're going to be seeing him at all. I think he might be out. And hey, let's be honest, when it comes to that, I mean, this guy was 65 innings pitched and a 193 earned run average, 70 strikeouts behind where's this total? Where's his walks at? Why don't they have walks on here? What is going on? Why are there no walks? 70 strikeouts behind 25 walks. He has allowed 0 home runs this year. This is a big loss for their bullpen. His home runs per 9 inning is 0.3. So this guy was an absolute shutdown machine for them. That's a really good loss for the Cubs coming out of the bullpen. But as I said, this bullpen is stacked back to back to back. You don't especially want to be down to these guys late. And Swaggy, I know that these guys have won their last couple of playoff series, but those weren't against these Cubs, my friend. We're coming to take.
Yeah, I like what Swaggy says here. He says, "What about the Cubs stealing bases, small ball?" Yeah, the Cubs have been one of the best teams in all of Major League Baseball at stealing bases. If there's stealing percentage, if the Cubs listen, if it's one of these games, Sean, like you said, where it's 1-run ball game and the second, third, fourth, fifth inning, you're going to have to steal. But the Cubs are going to have to play aggressive. This is it, guys. You got to. This is it. If you lose 2 games, you're out. The season is over. So do whatever you possibly can in order to win this ball game. Whatever you possibly can.
And the one thing that I do like is, about this, and I don't like facing Pivetta number 1, because when you get in these situations, if Pivetta is on, I'll say this, and I don't care. If Pivetta's on, the Cubs have no chance today. I absolutely have no chance. If that sweeper is sweeping and that nosedive curveball, the Cubs will be dancing in their shoes at the plate. We need Pivetta to be okay. If he's on, he's one of the best in baseball. He's proven it.
John says, "Who's the Padres manager?" It's Mike Shildt.
Mike Shildt, former Cardinals manager.
Yeah. Used to manage our biggest rivals. Yeah, Sean, if Pavetta's on, then Matthew Boyd has to be better.
Yeah.
He has to be better, because when Pivetta is on, he is one of the best pitchers in baseball. No doubt about it.
And that's kind of what I was saying, for this particular series, this could be a 1-run. You just hope that for the Cubs' sake, they have that 1-run lead. Here's a couple of questions. As we get into here, and chat, chime in, please. The Cubs made it to the first round, which is the wild card. We're playing postseason baseball. This was the point of the trade for the guy's shirt that I'm wearing and King Tuck to be on this ball club. If they don't win the World Series, but they gave up Cam Smith, there's a chance they don't re-sign Kyle Tucker. What would be a successful season in your eyes, Kyle, that wouldn't be a World Series championship?
Well, Sean, this for me personally, and maybe,
chat, please.
Yeah, everybody might think differently, but for me personally, a successful season for the Chicago Cubs is getting all these young guys that they've brought up playoff experience, getting them that championship pedigree mentality. And obviously you'd like to see them at least win one series, especially if Kyle Tucker's going to end up being a rental here. But I mean, just for these young guys, Matt Shaw, Kevin Alcantara, Michael Busch, for these guys to get some of this playoff experience, know what it feels like to play in the playoffs, I think that's a huge win for the Chicago Cubs, because at the end of the day, guys, going forward in the future, especially if they don't re-sign Kyle Tucker, these young guys are going to be the future of the Chicago Cubs. Yeah. These are going to be the guys who are supposed to carry the torch, the guys who are supposed to have sustained success here, give them multiple chances at winning a World Series, keep that championship window open as long as possible. You have to get these guys as much experience as possible. And it's unfortunate that guys like Cade Horton aren't here. It's unfortunate that Owen Casey couldn't make the playoff roster for this first round matchup against the Padres. But there's still a lot of young talent on this team playing in this game, and all you can do is hope that they get some good experience here. But at the end of the day, Sean, if you look at the two teams on paper, I went through it position by position. The only positions I had the Padres better at was basically right field with Tatis. And the only reason I put Tatis over Kyle Tucker is because it's been kind of a rotating door for the Chicago Cubs in right field. When Tatis is out there, he's one of the most consistent players in baseball. They're starting pitching and their bullpen. So if you look at every other position on the field, I think the Cubs have the upper hand. And, you could, Sean, we can go back and forth on Jackson Merrill and PCA all day. At the end of the day,
I didn't like the fact that MLB just gave it to Jackson Merrill over PCA, dude. That was bullshit to me.
Oh, I didn't even see that. But if PCA is playing at his best and he's a menace on the bases and he's a menace in center field and he's hitting home runs, I think he is probably right now. I would give him the slight upper hand. So the Cubs, like I said, you guys, I just said it. If you look at this position by position, they have a better pitching staff, I believe, right now due to the Cubs injuries, and they have a better bullpen. So I would say that the Cubs have to hit home runs and have to score runs to win the series. It can't be one of those, we're going into the 8th inning with 2 runs, because the Padres will beat you. The Cubs have to play like they did against the St. Louis Cardinals.
If the Cubs were to move on, who's your pick to click? We'll give a little White Sox reference. Who's your pick to click, man?
Pick to click. What do you mean?
Who's your MVP for the Cubs? Who's your most
this series?
Player? This series.
Sean, I have to go Nico Horner. He's been the most consistent Cub all season. You know, we've heard Cubs managers in the past say, "As you go, we go." It seems to me like that this season, that guy right now is Nico Horner. I mean, Nico Horner he's going to finish second in the batting title in the NL. I think he's been absolutely phenomenal this year. He leads all second basemen and runs saved. He's been the best Cub on offense, and that's only because obviously a lot of these guys have missed a big chunk of the season, but Nico Horner's been Mr. Consistent, and I expect him to continue to do so in the playoffs. And Nico Horner can hit anybody. It doesn't matter, left-handed, right-handed, it doesn't matter. He hits everything. He rarely strikes out. Nico Horner, if the Cubs are struggling to find runs, he has to fire them up. He has to wake them up and get a base hit or a double. Or even as of late, he's been hitting for more power, maybe even a home run. But Sean, one guy I would keep my eye on, considering how hot he's been coming into the series, is Michael Busch. I mean, he has been absolutely, you guys, over his last 7 games, I believe Michael Busch is hitting somewhere around 430 with like 5 or 6 bombs. He's been absolutely amazing for the last week. If Michael Busch could carry that momentum into this series against the Padres, I think that the Cubs can win this series. If he can hit a home run to start this game, lead off, I think the Cubs win the World Series or win the series.
Now, I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to back this up because, guys, I was talking to our buddy Scott and Steve earlier and said I didn't like the Cubs today against Nick Pivetta. And I know the stats say since these series have started, the team who wins the first game wins the series. But I like the Cubs' chances better tomorrow and Thursday. Dylan Cease carries a .558 road earned run average.
Real quick, Sean, that it is inflated as that ERA is for him. Mm-hmm. Dylan Cease, he's played well against the Cubs.
He has
played well against the Cubs.
He has. But then you back that up with Yu Darvish in a Game 3 situation. Yu Darvish is carrying a .726 earned run average on
that game. I like the Sean. Let me ask you a question. if they knew Cade Horton wasn't going to be here, do you think they would have pitched these guys differently over the last week and set Jameson Taillon up to start this series? Because Jameson Taillon, since coming back from his injury, has been absolutely amazing. And I'm not taking anything away from Matthew Boyd, guys. The guy was an all-star. Obviously, he's earned the right to pitch in the playoffs. But I personally would have given that slight edge to Jameson Taillon just based off of the way he's pitched recently and based off the way he's pitched at home all season.
I would have, yes, until I looked at that .240 batting average against lefties for the Padres. I think this is the way to go. And I like the fact. So I wanted Jameson Taillon to start the first game. I'm totally down with that. But then when I looked at this and said, man, if we split with the lefties, and even though they hit .260 versus righties, you still have a really, really good track record with JMO at Wrigley Field to pull this series out. So Swaggy McNolegs is calling a Bush leadoff homer. I
No,
hope
no, I
so.
think he's asking if I'm calling it.
Oh,
I'm not gonna call it, Swaggy. It's tough to call home runs in baseball, but I'm telling you, if Bush leads this game off with a home run, that would set the tone for this game, and I think the Cubs would easily win it. But I mean, they just have to jump up Pivetta early. If you let him get comfortable, we know he's one of these guys where if he gets comfortable and he starts finding his spots, you're in big trouble. He can be one of the best pitchers in baseball when he's on. And Sean, he's had ups and downs this season, but a sub-3 RA is nothing to be ashamed of. I mean, this guy is a true ace. He really is. And if the Cubs want to win this game, they're going to have to get to him early. That's the only way to beat the Padres when Nick Pivetta is pitching. You have to jump on him early. And we've seen the Cubs do that recently against teams like the Cardinals, and we've seen the Cubs against the teams like the Reds where they load the bases in the first inning with 0 out and they can't get a run home. So the Cubs, they're going to have to do everything they can to squeeze runs past home plate this series. They're going, I mean, you guys, like we said, we've talked about it 30 times now. Been talking about it for the last 3 weeks. This is it. No holds barred. There's nothing. You got to put your best foot forward. You lose 2 games, you're out. So the Cubs need to do whatever they possibly can, no matter what it, even if you feel like you need to bring Jamison Tyon in for 2 innings at some point. And obviously that's far fetched, but just anything you possibly can do, any advantage you can find to beat this team, the Cubs need to do it because this is two losses and you're out.
Well, I will tell you this. My pick to click for this series. We all know that King Tuck and PCA have to do their thing if they're going to win anyways.
I know where you're going, Sean.
Say it.
No, you say it.
I want to see if you got me.
Is it Seiya?
It is Seiya.
I knew it.
It's Seiya. I knew it. And his last 6 games, 318, 5 home runs, 12 RBIs. Now, let's just say this. If he does have to play in right field, which is a possibility.
He is today.
He is today. In 32 games in right field this year, he's hitting 304, OPS at 360, slugging 664, 13 home runs, 34 RBIs, and yes, that's an OPS of almost 1,000. It is 1,000 actually. So, you know what? The one thing, Seiya has to come alive, especially him being right in the center of that lineup. When if they set the table, he's gonna have to drive these runs in. I would prefer, and I haven't seen the lineup today. And Pivetta's a righty. Am I right by saying that?
Yes, Pivetta's a righty.
Pivetta's a righty.
Yes.
He's hit 248, had 22 dongs, and 76 RBIs. Post All-Star break. Hasn't been good. But against San Diego this year, also not good for Seiya. He hit 077 in 13 plate appearances. So he needs to turn this around against his staff. He's going to hit 4th in that lineup. He needs to be the man to drive some runs home. So let's get that done. Let's be the man, Seiya. Let's earn that contract. And shut your haters up, brother, because there's a lot of people that want you out of town. Yeah, their love and respect in this series.
Sean, you know who's pitched great against hit great against West Coast teams this year is Michael Bush. I mean, he was amazing against the Dodgers. He's been an absolute stud. And like I said, he's the Cubs' hottest hitter coming into the series. So if Michael Bush can come in here and get hot, stay hot, and hit a dinger today, maybe a double, triple, he's been absolutely on fire. We all know that he was a single shy of the cycle against the Cardinals in that second game. They walked him to make sure he did not get that single. If Michael Bush could carry that into this series, I think the Cubs and Nico Warner continues to hit the way he has, and PCA can go 1 for 4 maybe because PCA's been hitting for power, but he's not hitting for average. I think the Cubs stand a good chance. We've talked about this for the last 3 weeks, guys. If the Cubs are going to make a deep playoff run, it's going to have to be their offense because their pitching is absolutely decimated. So it has to be off the bats. That's the only way the Cubs can make a deep playoff run.
This is from so it's gonna be Tatis, Araz, Machado, Morel, Bogarts, O'Hearn, Sheets, Chenoweth, and Furman, and the Cubs will back that up with Bush, Horner, Happ, Tucker, Suzuki, Kelly, PCA, Swanson, and Shaw. The only thing I don't really like about this is I'd almost like Happ in that second spot move Horner to the third spot and then go Tucker and Suzuki. Because if Bush is on and he gets a base hit, if Bush and Happ go back to back with that 376 batting average with runners in scoring position, I just like Horner better after the table's been set than him setting the table. You know what I mean?
Yeah. To be honest with you, Sean, I actually kind of like the Cubs lineup today, and I'm not saying and Horner in particular, but I like the fact that they drop PCA down there. I like the fact that it goes PCA, Swanson, Shaw. I think that could do some. I mean, there really is no safe out in this lineup for the Cubs. I mean, Pivetta, every single pitch is going to matter greatly. The only guy in the Cubs lineup who's a little kind of been soft lately is obviously Carson Kelly's had his struggles, but Carson Kelly can get you if you lay a pitch down the middle too. So I mean, the Cubs lineup is better than the Padres. After you get past those top 5 against the Padres, excluding Cronenworth, you get a couple easy outs. I think the Cubs have to win this series with their bats. They absolutely have to. These guys have to wake up. They have to play well today. Absolutely.
And there's a secret weapon that the Cubs have that I don't know if it's going to be such a secret weapon or they're going to use it, but Justin Turner has absolutely owned Nick Pivetta in his career. He is 6 for 9. He's 6 for 9 against him in his career. With where did this? I had this. Gosh darn it! Here it is. 6 for 9, a double, a home run, 2 RBIs. And a 1.667 OPS lifetime versus a 2.229 OPS against a 1.6 slug. I mean, Turner. Now, let's be honest. It's not the same Turner.
I mean, you're talking about through the span of a career. Turner's
2017 and 2014. So
Yeah.
As of last year he had 3 plate appearances. He was 2 for 3. 2 hits, 1 double, 1 home run, 1 RBI, 1 walk, no strikeouts against him just last year. So, I mean, I'm not saying use him, but I'm saying you might have a pitch hit here in a big situation that forces the Padres to go to the bullpen, knowing the history of Justin Turner. I don't know, man.
Sean, on top of that, you have Moises Ballesteros on the bench as well, and he's been absolutely on fire over his last week. I mean, he started off, I think, 1 for 14 in the major leagues, and since then he's been on fire, absolutely on fire. And testament to Craig Counsell and having the confidence in Mo Baller to make this roster. Because Sean, we talked about this before the playoffs started. Like, who's going to be the utility man? Who's going to be the bench players for the Cubs? Is it going to be Casey? Is it going to be Alcantara? Is it going to be? And he went with Turner, Alcantara, and Moises Ballesteros. So I think at some point, one of those guys or a couple of those guys are probably going to have to play a huge role in this series.
Yeah, and you texted me after this came out. I was in a meeting and I didn't see it. I'm kind of with you. I'm a little disappointed in the Taylor Rogers addition to this rotation or to this staff for this round, but I am very happy with the infielders, outfielders, and catchers. They got the 3 rookies, and when we were talking a couple of weeks ago, Kyle, we only thought 2 of the 3 would make it. I'm very happy that all 3 did make it because, like you stated a little bit ago, man, this is our future. And it for Alcantara, I guess Owen Casey's not here.
He's not. Owen Casey did not make the roster, Sean.
Yeah, so I guess it is only 2 of the 3. So my bad. I kind of.
Well, but I understand why Justin Turner's on the roster, Sean. I get it. I mean, you talk about.
I like Turner.
How many times in sports have we heard people talk about you have to have championship pedigree, you have to have been there before, you have to know what you're going through. So, he's been a player's coach all year. Justin Turner is probably going to be the guy giving this speech in the locker room before the Cubs come out onto the field. He's really good with his teammates. Numerous guys on this roster have given Turner credit for their career turnarounds or credit for how good of seasons they've had.
Bench coach.
Yeah, and you know what, Sean, like you said, Justin Turner playing in this game, probably not ideal for the Cubs, but if it comes down to it and you're in a pinch and you need a pinch hitter, I would take the guy who's 6 for 9 against Pivetta. Yeah, that certainly doesn't hurt.
And I would say this too, man. And I know this would suck to pull a defensive specialist like Matt Shaw out of the ball game late in a key situation. But if you feel like putting an experienced player like Turner into that position, into that at bat. He's come up with some a couple of key at bats for the Cubs this year. And I know that Willie Castro isn't as defensively sound as Ian Happ, or excuse me, Matt Shaw, but he's also not terrible as a defensive replacement. I mean, you have to throw what you got at it, whatever you think is best strategy, even if that's pulling a guy. I don't like weakening your defense late in the game, especially at the corners. So it's going to be very interesting. I went into the series thinking that the Cubs would be okay. And I still think they're going to be okay.
It's
and
a tough series, Sean. It's a tough series. But the Cubs need to continue to be aggressive like they have been all year. Like Swaggy McDowell said, steal bases. If PCA gets on, let him take second, man. I mean, this is it. This is it. I think the Cubs right now, they're a team that has been decimated by injuries, particularly in the pitching staff. So you have to do whatever you can to win. And if that means taking chances, trying to steal bases, then do it. I'm all for it, man. I'm all for it.
And I'll say this. I have our Cubbies in 3. I don't think it's going to be a 2-game sweep. I don't know that I want the Cubs to prove me wrong today.
Sean, do you know what the wind's looking like tomorrow?
No, is it bad? Oh,
I don't know, man. If the wind's blowing in, Shota Imanaga could be the best pitcher in baseball. If the wind's blowing out, he could be one of the worst pitchers in baseball. Yeah, I'll take the Cubs in 3 as well, Sean. I think this is going to be a tough fought series. I think it's going to be really close. I think every game is going to be a good game, but I think the Cubs ultimately, if you look at their offense on paper, they still have one of the best offenses in the NFL or in the MLB. And Sean, as good as the Padres have been as of late, they've had stretches in this season where they've played poorly. If you get through their top of their lineup and those guys aren't doing damage, they're hard pressed to find runs anywhere else. So I'm gonna go with the Cubs, man. I think the Cubs are gonna win it 2 out of 3. Yeah.
Yeah, and just to answer you, was that Jebediah who asked about Matt Shaw over his last 8 games? He's definitely turned it around. After a slow start since the Red Series, 2, 4, 5, 7. He's hitting about a 400 since the Reds series. I want to say, maybe about 300 since the Red series. So, I'm very confident that Matt Shaw. I don't think the spotlight's too big for any of these guys, and I'll be perfectly honest. I think the spotlight, and this is exactly what a guy like PCA lives for. And I wouldn't be surprised if PCA puts the biggest spotlight on himself and he shines as the brightest star in the series. And it makes the Cubs' decision that much easier to walk away from a Kyle Tucker. And no matter what happens at the end of the season, when it's over, I am on record. I don't care what the Cubs do, win the World Series, lose in the NLCS. I am 110%. I want Kyle Tucker back in 2026.
Yeah, so do I. But I would understand if the Cubs did. I mean, depending on the asking price, I would also understand why the Cubs didn't bring him back. But Sean, if Kyle Tucker wants to add to his money, what he's asking for in free agency, now is a good time to do it.
Yeah, 100%.
These are the big moments. It's time for Kyle Tucker to be the Kyle Tucker the Cubs traded for and be the superstar on this team and carry the load. Now, if he can't, I think there are plenty of guys on this team that can, but this is what Kyle Tucker, this is what you want to get paid for, these moments right here. So let's see it, man. Let's out there and hit the ball.
Yeah, let's see what Craig Counsell's made of. And again, before we check out of here, I really do. I'm going to tip my cap to Craig Counsell. He said at the beginning of the year, we had a 90-win baseball team here. He delivered 92 wins. He's got us in the playoffs.
Well, and Sean, imagine if they had Kid Horton and Justin Steele all year. This would be a 100-win baseball team. He's done a good job duct taping this thing together. And guys, we've already talked about Eli Morgan. We've talked about Porter Hodge. We've talked about the monumental collapse of one Ryan Presley. And somehow, some way, some shape, some form, both Jed Hoyer and Craig Counsell have found a way to keep this thing together and keep it on the right track. And the Cubs have looked better in the last 5-6 games than they have.
Yeah,
basically the whole second half of the season. So if they can carry,
I think they've looked better in the playoffs.
Well, and Sean, I really do.
Minus the Red Series.
I know there are a lot of people in the world who don't believe that home field means anything, but I think it does. I think
100%.
Having 40,000 fans screaming every time you make a big play is huge for momentum and huge for these guys. And we've heard them in their interviews after the season say, you don't understand how much it means to us to play this first series in Wrigley Field. It's huge. It's absolutely massive because this is the best fan base in baseball, and it is. Chicago Cubs have the best fan baseball.
And Kyle, you got what you wanted. You got Dylan Cease and Yu Darvish in this series, coming in with with 5.5 and 7.5 earned run averages on the road. And the one thing that I completely forgot to tell you, that on the road this year, Nick Pivetta has a 355 earned run average. He's 5-4 in 78 innings pitched, 77 strikeouts, 23 walks, and a 224 batting average against, opposed to at home, where at Petco, 113 strikeouts, 27 walks. Teams are only hitting 170 against him. He was 8-1 with a sparkling 230 earned run average. So when you talk about home field advantage, Kyle, and people don't realize it, I mean, you hit the nail on the head there, brother. The Padres have, I think, the 4th best overall starting pitching, the best bullpen in baseball, but those numbers are not the same away from San Diego. So,
yeah, Sean, another thing about this team is the Padres are not great defensively. They're not one of the top teams in defensive metrics in baseball. So if you want to create havoc on the base paths, the only way to do that is to hit the ball. So the Cubs have to have long at bats, fight off pitches. The Cubs were doing it early in the season. We saw 8, 9, 10, 12 pitch at bats, and then coming out of the All-Star break, there was a lot of easy outs for the opposing team. If the Cubs can continue to fight off pitches, make Nick Pivetta nervous, get a guy like Matthew Shaw or a guy like PCA on base, guy with good speed, steal some bases, keep them on their toes, on their heels for the entire series, I think the Cubs can win this series. I think that ultimately, if you look at the two teams on paper, as good as their bullpen is, and as badly as the Cubs pitching staff has been injured, banged up, I think the Cubs are still the better team. And I agree. The Cubs have one of the best offenses in the playoffs. It's not about whether or not the Cubs are able to hit. It's about whether or not they will in this series. And they need to. Yeah. It's time for them to show up, man. This is it. This is Cubs. Cubs have been bragging about this lineup all season. Let's see it, guys. This is when it matters. This is clutch time. Let's go. Kyle Tucker, go earn your free agency money. Go earn your $450 million. PCA, show us you are the future of the Chicago Cubs and the budding star. Matt Shaw, show us that you're going to be one of the best third basemen in the NL for the next 3 or 4 years. I mean, Nico Horner, continue to do what you've done all season. Don't fall off now, but stay in that batting title race, even though obviously it's officially over. Let's see what these guys are made of. It's clutch time, Sean. There's no more excuses. No more excuses for Craig Counsell. No more excuse for this Cubs team.
Hey, you want to know, Melon Smasher? We don't agree with a lot of things you said today on this show, but this, I agree with you 100%. And I agree with you on this 100%. Diamond full of Gold Glovers behind Boyd. Defense will win this series.
Sean, when it comes to defense, the Cubs have a monumental advantage
over everybody.
Monumental. I mean, the Padres are not good defensively. They're not a good defensive team. So if the Cubs could easily take advantage of that, and if they can get the bat on the ball. If Pivetta is on fire, Sean, like we've seen him in the past, when he's on fire, he's tough. The Cubs have to fight off good pitches. They have to fight off good pitches and not swing at bad pitches.
And before we get out of here, I'm going to rewind one of my favorite moments of the year to bring the Cubs some luck.
Here's Tucker. Swing and a drive. Right field, way back. We are on top. Kyle.
God, that was one of the most energetic games. Coming back from behind against the Diamondbacks like that was just absolutely amazing. And having King Tuck up in that particular spot to crush that ball, it's one of my favorite moments of the entire offseason. And Chris, I don't know if you're watching, but should we relive a playoff moment before we get out of here, Kyle?
Well, it's real quick, Sean. I just want to address a couple of these comments. But first of all, guys, I understand that the wind's not blowing up 40 miles per hour, but it's 70, 75 degrees out. This is a hitter's day. Like
Yeah,
the
it is.
there's no excuses for the Cubs hitters today. And Jedediah says Tucker better earn it when we need him most. Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
100%.
And Melon Smash is saying the same thing. Tucker, go earn that $600 million contract in September. Talk about motivation for Tucker. Contract month right here. I agree with you guys 100%. If Kyle Tucker is going to claim asked to be paid like he is the best player on the team for the next 10 years, a valid, legitimate superstar, the best way to prove that to other teams looking to pay you is to perform when it matters most, and this is when it matters most on the playoffs. So go be King Tuck.
What does every team need to be successful? What kind of player? What's his name?
Kyle. Every Chicago team needs a good Kyle. Every Chicago team needs a good Kyle, guys.
I think the Cubs. Now that I looked at that 355, man, I hope the Cubs are going to get it today. Yeah, I'm changing my mind. I'm taking the Cubs in 2. Shota's going to show up tomorrow. Shota's going to show up.
Shota would be the game I would pick to lose. So I'm going to say win, loss, win.
Win, loss, win. How will we get it done? And here, all we got to do is win this, because you win this tomorrow. The Padres are gripping the bats tighter. Every pitch is more important to them.
The pressure is crushing.
Yes.
Is crushed.
Yes.
The weight on if they lose this, if the Padres, either team, if you lose game 1, you go into game 2 knowing that you absolutely have to win that one game to continue. The pressure of every pitch is absolutely monumental. Listen, this is the game, guys. I understand that this is a 3-game series, or best of 3, but the Cubs have to come out here and play like they played against the Cardinals over the last 3 games in order to beat these Padres. And Sean, they're capable of doing it. They have the lineup to do it. They have the pitching to do it. Listen, is it the best pitching in baseball? Absolutely not. But if you're talking about winning 2 games, the Cubs are in that conversation for very good pitching staff, because if you can get to Keller, you can get to Thielbar, and you get to Palencia, that's just as good of as a bullpen as any other team in baseball.
Hey, Melon Smasher, I really hope, man. I mean, he looked really good in his last outing. His last 9 starts, 551 earned run average, has got me a little bit on edge. But Matthew Boyd in big moments last year with Cleveland was sensational in the playoffs, and I'm hoping we get the same performance out of him. Most innings he's ever pitched in his career this year. Hopefully he got past that. They got him the extra rest, stretched him out a little bit towards these last couple of weeks. So hopefully that comes in. Hopefully keeps the ball away from Machado, Bogarts, keeps these guys off of bases. Definitely Tatis. For those who don't know me that well as far as baseball goes, Fernando Tatis Jr. is one of my favorite players outside of Chicago.
Yeah, that's only because he left the White Sox.
No, I love that he left the White Sox. But I love
Jackson Merrill's the guy you got to keep your eye on, man. I think
Jackson Merrill
absolutely ruined this series for the Chicago Cubs. Do not pitch the ball middle.
Could be next. The
Cubs have tried that in the past and it didn't work very well. He's a guy who can absolutely destroy the series for the Cubs. But yeah, Sean, it's all up to Matthew Boyd. This is it. This is the guy who was the Cubs brought here because of his performance in the playoffs last year. That's why he's the Chicago Cub. They've talked about it. They were so impressed with how he pitched in the playoffs. This is your chance, Boyd. This is it. And maybe he's a guy who's better under pressure. We're about to find out.
We're about to find out. We got about an hour and let's see, an hour and 15 minutes before first pitch. The Tigers and the Indians are playing right now. Oh, sorry, we'll just say Cleveland are playing right now in the first game. Of course, we lost the primetime slot to Boston and the Yankees. I can't really fault them for that. It is Boston and the Yankees.
That's smart by Major League Baseball. That's going to make them. That's their money maker.
That's their money. Detroit is up in the top of the 4th, 1-0 on Cleveland. But for those who don't know me, Cleveland is my second favorite baseball team. So I am really hoping that Cleveland.
Swaggy calls them the Cleveland baseball team.
I'll always call them the Indians. They'll always be the Indians, and they'll always be the Redskins. I'll never change. Hey boys, we got to get out of here. We got to go. Kyle's got to go open River Street. I'm going to get over there and help him open River Street. If anyone's in the neighborhood, 102 North River Street, East Dundee, Illinois. Come on down. We're going to be sitting there enjoying some playoff baseball, baby. That's right.
Let's go, guys. Let's go. Let's go. Cubs up, man. Cubs up, bear down. Let's go.
Let's do this.
Yeah, you guys take care of yourselves so you can take care of each other and go Cubs. Hopefully we'll be talking to you guys about another Cubs playoff series
Yes,
here.
and I'll tell you this. We'll see you guys on Saturday as we prepare for the NLDS versus the Milwaukee Brewers. Let's go.
Win. Just win,
Peace and
baby.
love. Fly that W, baby. Pretty good turnout for impromptu.